Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. All these seats will be taken. We actually sold this program out even after extending more seats. So grab the seats while you can, because pretty shortly they'll fill up. Yesterday, I gave a workshop as part of the conference called Unstuck: Getting Your Event Business to the Next Level. And one of the questions that we covered is, if you could create your event business from scratch today, what would it look like? And if it would look different from how your business is currently set up, why are you hanging on to the old way of doing things? And it's a very empowering question, because it gets you thinking about avoiding the pitfall of being shackled to a legacy way of doing something. And that same empowering perspective can be applied to events. And prior to starting the Event Leadership Institute, I ran an event and meeting planning company for 20 years. And we would meet with clients all the time, and they would want us to help take their event to the next level. And that was a question that we would often ask, is if you were to create this conference today, what would it look like? And often, the response is sort of like, hey, 1997's calling and they want their conference back, because it was created a number of years ago and people just keep handing it off to the next team. And so, we were lucky, Chad and I, that BizBash management gave us the opportunity to apply that thinking to the education for the BizBash Idea Fest. And the thought process was, if we were to create a conference today from scratch, would it look like the education we've been doing at all the previous BizBash shows? And the answer was no. The education had been good, it had been really good, but it's not necessarily how we would do it now. And so we wanted to create something that we thought addressed the needs of the event planning community. And our focus throughout was to take a strategic perspective. And so there's not a lot of 101 stuff and how to do this and how to do that stuff. Our driving force was very much, we want to pull you out of the weeds, because event planners are very easily stuck in details. And we want to get you up at 10,000 feet and give you a strategic perspective on your events, your career, and your department. And we did that because our belief is that strategic thinking and creative thinking are like muscles. And they need to be exercised, and they need to be vigorously exercised, otherwise they atrophy. And so that was a big part of our overall view. One of the themes that we're proud to have embedded in today's conference is the idea of proving your value as a planner to your department, to your boss, to your internal client, your external client. And within that, there's a lot of proactivity that we're seeing out there that we want to share examples of. And so you're going to hear several different sessions today talk about that. You'll hear Haley Carlson talk about how she made her in-house department indispensable. You'll hear a panel later today with 3 people talking about how they pitched a new event idea that they came up with. You'll hear Carl Vance talk about how he reinvented the Clio Awards. Those are just a few examples of people who were very proactive and took initiative and are better served for it. And that's one theme that we want to share and have people take away from today's conference. Now, the format that we picked is this TED-style program. Most of the sessions are 15 minutes, and it's a single-track program, okay? And meaning that there's no other place for you guys to go. This is the only room. There are no parts of the program where you can look and say, well, I'll skip that and I'll go to the other room. And that's by design. There are a lot of conferences out there where there are 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks. We think that's sort of the older model, and that works for certain organizations. But what we feel is one of the consequences of having all these tracks is that the quality is mixed. Okay, you get a lot of mediocre programs and sessions, and by having a single focus, a single track like this, it puts a real emphasis on us making sure that everything is really strong, that the content is really, really good, because there's nowhere to go if you don't like the session. And in my view, just to sort of wrap things up here, my opening remarks, in my view, when people talk about TED and they want to copy the model of TED, they talk about it's got to be 18 minutes or 15 minutes. In my view, that misses the point. What's great about TED is not the time of the speakers, because if you've watched any of the TED Talks, you can watch these people for 8 minutes or for 60 minutes. They're all phenomenal. What makes TED great is their focus on quality of speakers and quality of topics. And that's the beauty of this sort of single session program. And so Chad and I thought really hard about what are the topics we want to share, what are the speakers we want to bring to you. And it happens that half the speakers are not from New York. And that was not necessarily by design. We just thought we want to get the best people to share their ideas It happens that we have 2 speakers from Chicago, 1 from DC, 1 from Florida, 2 from San Francisco, and 1 from the Middle East. Later you'll hear on projection mapping, that was a class we wanted to bring to you. It happens to be that the best guy on this, Travis Threlkel, lives across the country. And so we flew him in. And so we're looking forward to having you enjoy the program today. And we put a lot of thought into the speakers and the topics. And we're really excited to share them with you.
Yeah, just to echo that, I want to just thank you for coming, because I think it can be so hard to leave the office, and you're all probably itching to get back there already. So I hope that you won't do that. You'll stay here for the whole time. Because I think what we have is really worth your time to be here. In addition to what we're going to be presenting from the stage, I think one of the things that was important to us in designing the day was that we want you to engage with each other. And some of the little surprises on your chairs we'll get to a little bit later, but those are meant to kind of foster those connections. In addition, what we're asking all the people who are presenting on stage, we're asking them to spend some time in the lounge at the back of the room after their session. So we probably won't have we don't have a lot of time for questions from the audience during the sessions, but if you want to talk to these speakers and have a conversation of what they do, they will be available for you. And those of you who are going to the lunch today, they will be at lunch to answer your questions and kind of keep the conversation going. Speaking of keeping the conversation going, if we can get the Wi-Fi slide up, these are the Wi-Fi passwords. If you go onto one of the Javits Wi-Fi systems, then if you go to your browser, to Safari or whatever you use from whatever you're using, this username and password will get you onto the Wi-Fi. So please, if you see something up here that you want to share, whether you're tweeting it or Instagramming photos or putting stuff on Facebook, please do that. You can use the BizBash hashtag. We'll make sure that everybody out there too is kind of hearing what you're hearing, and we'll let you guys kind of connect with each other in that way. Just to let you know, too, we are recording all these presentations, so you'll be able to see that or share those with your friends, both via some excerpts on the BizBash site, as well as the full sessions on the Event Leadership Institute site as well. And next, we're going to, real fast, you guys have the little IML devices on your chairs. We're going to do a couple of questions that you're going to, with the IML devices, just to kind of get a sense of who's in the room, you kind of know who you're sitting next to. So can we get that IML first question slide up, please? There we go. So just real fast, you're gonna use the keypad on there to answer the number here. So how many years of event industry experience do you have? Number 1 is, I'm not currently in the event industry. Maybe you're a marketer of some sort and you thought you could get some good information here. Number 2 is 0 to 3 years, 3, 4 to 7, 4, 8 to 15, 5, 16 or more. So now your devices should light up, and you're going to type in the number that corresponds to the answer you want to give us. You can do that now. I told you there's fun and games there. This is... All right. So 9% of you guys are out of the industry, which is kind of cool. I'm flattered that you think you're going to get some good value here. 28%, 3 years or less. But the big amount there is 8 to 15, so people with some significant experience, 13%, 16 years or more. Let's do the next question.
And that, by the way, our goal was to target programming for the senior planner. And the junior planners are certainly welcome. You'll learn a ton. But we felt there was not enough higher level programming going on. And so we're really, really happy to see those 2 bottom numbers be the biggest sections of the audience.
Definitely. So real fast, what best describes your job? Number 1, I work in-house for a corporation or a company or a brand. Number 2, I work in-house for a nonprofit, maybe an association or a charity, an educational institution. Number 3, you're an independent planner, or you work for an agency, or you own an agency maybe. 4, you work for an event supplier, a venue, a caterer, or designer, one of those kinds of folks. And 5 is other. Maybe you're in education, or you're a journalist covering this, one of those things. So you're going to type again. You're going to type the number on your keypad that corresponds to your answer, and we can do that now.
We tried to get the Jeopardy music, but we didn't have the rights for it. Maybe next year, charge a little more, and we'll get to buy,
totally
some good game
it.
show music.
Totally worth it. All right. So first, the biggest answer there: 45.9% working in-house for a corporation. Just over under 10% working at nonprofits. About 31% an independent planner, you work for an agency, and then about 6.6 for vendors or education. So that tells you just a little bit about who's in the room today. And I hope that you'll chat with each other what you're seeing up here.